swear I do not believe it. And they are back on terms.
Hello and welcome to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast. Thank you for joining us. Things didn't exactly go to plan on Tuesday night, but we got out with a point and a clean sheet. It's not the end of the world. We'll cover some decent performances, an amazing performance, and some below par performances from Tuesday night. We're also going to look ahead to the biggest game of the season so far, and could end up being the biggest game of the season when it ends. So that's MK Dons coming up on Saturday. We have Michael with us. Hi, Michael.
Hello.
Danny Ogden-Clare is with us. Thank you for joining us, Danny.
Hello, everybody. How are we doing?
All right. And we have Lewis Holden back with us. Thanks for joining us, Lewis.
No, thanks, lads. Thanks for being back.
Thank you. We'll go through all your comments in a moment. First thing I want to mention is this month we are going to dedicate to doing a bit of fundraising. We talked on last episode about the issues in Ukraine, and I said something along the lines of, what can we do other than just, wishes and prayers and things like that? So what we thought we'd do is try and raise a bit of money for the Red Cross, the UK Red Cross appeal. We're doing a few little bits and bobs this month. We have set as a fundraising page, Just Giving, which will be on our Twitter page as the pinned tweet when you're listening to this. And anything you can give, we will. Well, it'll be amazing. You can't watch the news at the minute without it being horrible. So I thought we wanted to help any little way we can. I know it's not going to make that much difference, but anything you can do to help would be amazing. I'm trying to convince Mick to do one or two things.
One of two or two.
One thing, which I haven't gone past Danny or anybody else yet, but we will come by that as and when.
I hope it doesn't involve shaving anything.
You haven't got any hair.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah. I'll shave my head.
But yeah, anything you can do. We're not going to spend too much on it. This podcast is all about sort of getting away from the horrible side of things. But we wanted to do our little bit if we can, and I hope everybody can support us. If you can, brilliant. If you can't, share it far and wide. Let's raise as much money as we possibly can for this great. I think it's a great cause. Anything else? Anybody want to add on top of that?
No, nothing from me.
No.
Cool. And Danny?
Yes. As you say, this month we are doing quite a bit of fundraising. Obviously, the stuff that's happening in Ukraine is the big one at the minute because it's affecting virtually millions of people. But Rotherham's got one that's closer to home this month, and it's the Give the Hospice a Hand event, which the club's trying to get the sponsors to get 6,000 pairs of red gloves for us all to wear at the Shrewsbury game on the 19th of March. I'm involved with that, and it's the brainchild of John Breckin, kindly supported by Tony Stewart. And so if anyone can bring your red gloves out so we all get the red gloves on, donate a little bit of money to the hospice, it'll be a massive help for them as well. So yeah, that's my little bit.
Brill. Some good gestures to start the show with. That's what we like. So I hope everybody's well. We've got loads of comments. The Grundy's with us. Gav and Scott and Steve are with us. YouTube user John Hinchliff's with us. Powermad UK. There's loads of you with us already. Thank you all for joining us. Let me hide the comment that I've got on the page because it's going to do me head in. So a disaster on Tuesday, Mick. Nil away at Shrewsbury Town. It was not. Let's talk about the performance first of all before we talk about the knock-on effects and league tables and blah blah blah. Certainly, the second half was one of the worst performances this season from 10 of the players. One player had an outstanding second half, but as a team performance, it was strangely below par. Paul once talked about illnesses potentially affecting that, but it was strange how poor the performance was in that second half, particularly.
Mate, I'm disgusted, and I'll be honest with you. I don't know how Warney can hold his head up after that. It's just an embarrassment, as somebody pointed out on social media. I think I'm going to go and support another team. It's just outrageous that they put a performance like that in, and not even come away with a 5-goal victory. It's just outrageous, man. Absolutely outrageous. Disgraceful. Oh, come on. it were a poor performance, weren't it? Particularly second half, as you say. It was probably overall the worst performance of the season. But no biggie, is it? I think we're still 10 points clear of third. I think we're still 6 or 9 points clear of second. I know they've got 7 points in it, and they've got a game in hand. I mean, it's just, it's tough, isn't it? It's tough being a Rotherham fan. This roller coaster that we're not on. Anyway,
I spoke to a MK Dons podcast for Saturday's game, and I said this football season is meant to be like a roller coaster, but this season hasn't been a roller coaster. I think this is why this sort of people have maybe hit him a bit more, because this season has been mostly plain sailing, Lewis, and just a bump in the road, I suppose.
Yeah, it's quite weird for it to be playing sailing for us, isn't it? Really, but like you say, it's a rare bad performance. I thought we were quite good at the first half an hour without causing them too many problems. We had 1 or 2 half chances from what I remember, but yeah, apart from that, they were fully better side. But we can let them off for that for just one game, can't we?
Yeah, definitely. And it's been coming a little bit, Danny. The Tuesday was below par, but we've not been brilliant for a little while. And I'm sort of hoping this is the bottom of the ditch of performances, and we're back up on the form of performance where we drew. It's not end of world, but hopefully, bear in mind those other factors. Hopefully, we can get back up and step up performances a little bit starting Saturday.
Yeah, like I said, there were other factors in Tuesday. Like there's an illness in the camp. I think one player is missing Saturday because of said illness. We had Barlasser out, which was for a very, very justified reason, because he's just had a baby. So congratulations to Dan and Jade, and I hope everything's well with everybody. But he should be back Saturday, so he'll be playing for his lad now, which even more
he'll be tired.
Yeah. But I think we missed Barlasser on Tuesday. We missed his distribution. First half wasn't too bad, but I have to admit, second half they absolutely clapped us, didn't they? My days. Honestly, I've said this in the vlog. If you haven't watched it, go and watch it. But they absolutely battered us that second half. It were a miracle they didn't score. Like they had one chance that hit the post and then bounced off their player and came to Vickers. And I was just looking around, everyone's mouths were just on the floor. Like, how have we not conceded there? But, that's one of them games where we've got a bit of luck and we've stopped them conceding. Even their manager said other teams would have conceded from that and they haven't. And just have the opposition manager say, yeah, they're going to go up. They actually played well against us. It's like, did we?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's not end at world. Some people's reactions on social media were like, the Russians were coming after us, but it's not end at world. We've drawn a game. We're still unbeaten, unlike the neighbours from S6, who seem to have imploded at the fact they've won more points than us in the last 8 games. Again, look at my Twitter and have a look at that, because that's funny. Yeah, but the reality check is some teams will hit us with stick this season, and that's what Shrewsbury did that second half. But we've come through it relatively unscathed, but we can dust the sense down and go, right, we need to improve Saturday. And I think that's what we will do, to be honest. We'll have a look at ourselves and go, what went wrong? Right, that's what went wrong. Build on that. Off we go.
Yeah. There was an overreaction on social media from a couple of people. It's just the way people think, you're not allowed to criticise the team. We absolutely are. We are the first ones to criticise, as we've just done. But it's the stuff people saying it's embarrassing and things like that. I mean, your point away from home against anybody is decent. Anybody in the league. It was, the performance wasn't very good, but we still got a point out of the game. So just chill. I think in hindsight, and again, this is affected by Barlas having a kid and a few injuries, Mick, there were too many changes. 5 changes at the start. This clearly wasn't Paul Warren's choice, but it was too many changes, weren't it?
Yeah, it was. It was, and that proved to be the case. Didn't it? We looked disjointed. We looked like a Papa John's team. Very similar to some of the performances we've seen in that competition. So, yeah, look, every team's going to have a bad performance, aren't they? Every team has got a bad performance in them, particularly at this level, and we still didn't concede. So, he had to make the changes by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
With the illness and everything else in the camp, he's his hands were tied. I think Paul Warne's got enough credit in the bank now to be trusted to pick the correct team, for the games that we're playing. He's proved in absolutely no uncertain terms that he's more than capable of doing the job. So we as fans have to trust him. Yeah, we can be critical of the performance. I don't think we can be critical realistically of the selection. He's done what he's had to do. But you can only be critical up to a point, can't you? Because it's not a team that's played together regularly. I accept that they train regularly and everything else, but playing in a game in a match situation is different altogether. And you look at, and I don't know whether this is right. I've read it somewhere. I've not actually checked it out myself. But if you look at the goals conceded table for League One, I think it goes Rotherham, Wigan, Shrewsbury. I might be wrong. I'm not sure. Or goals conceded at home. So they're nobody's mugs. Nobody is in this league, are they?
No.
But yeah, we still should have won. But I want to get out of bed about it.
Donald London says the worn out brigade are ridiculous. Now I didn't see any worn outers on Tuesday,
and
I can only assume they were fishing for bites.
Got to
because if you think Paul Warne should be sacked, then you've got problems. I'm afraid
you're right. That makes shows. We've only conceded 16 at home.
Yeah, so straight away that tells you that they're going to be a tough team to break down. As so it proved. And they looked very, very dangerous going forward as well, didn't they?
We did,
particularly in that second half.
Yeah, as Daniel Scott points, 4 points in 4 days from 2 long away days is not to be sniffed at from 2 tough teams. Yeah, exactly right. One of the good stories, though, Lewis, Angus MacDonald, his first start since Cardiff last year, and for as much as there were problems further forward, I thought Angus was extremely solid. He barely put a foot wrong. Obviously a bit rusty at times, but he's nearly there. He's nearly back to where he were.
Yeah. If you didn't know context around you, thought he'd be playing all season. The way he just slotted right in there, like he'd been there all season. I thought, barring the obvious candidate for Man of the Match, I thought he were a good second shout. I thought he were excellent considering his lack of game time. I thought he didn't make no mistakes or anything. They were just short on ball. So I thought he was really good. I was really impressed with him.
Yeah, he's good. If you get him fit again, which is obviously where we nearly are, he's going to be such an important player for us in his last 10 games. And wherever we are next season, probably Championship, he's going to be such a key player for us again. He's a Championship defender. Let's be right. He is a Championship defender. And it's a strange thing to say, but if he was in the team for more of this season, we might even have a better defensive record because he definitely improves us. And as is already ridiculous. So
exactly.
Big call.
Well,
yes, we would have conceded 4 away from home, but not 5. There you go.
Yeah. Let's go on a positive offensive, Danny. Josh Vickers once again with a man of the match performance. He is making a very late run to be player of the season because he is at the minute he is completely faultless.
I saw one Shrewsbury fan put on Twitter he needs to do a drugs test, and it's like, yeah, I'm inclined to agree actually. But I don't know what Josh Vickers has on his cereal in the morning, but he needs to tell us because I want some of it. Because my God, since start of this year actually, he's been unreal, absolutely unreal. It's very rare that you can pick a fault in any of his performances recently. And yeah, he's now a great asset to have. Like, again, not to sound obsessed with our neighbours from S6, but they've been saying, oh, no one's conceded more goals than Peacock Farrell. And it's like, yeah, but he's played 30 games. Josh Vickers has played 16 and he's only 1 behind him.
Yeah.
Like that's a mad start. Josh Vickers has played 16 times and he has 11 clean sheets, which I think is like an average of 66% clean sheets in his appearances, which is insane. Yeah. That's insane for a goalkeeper. And to be honest, if he's in this vein of form and he's making unreal saves every game, even when the defence does get a little bit rusty, effectively, when the defence gets a little bit rusty with a pass or with a tackle or whatever, it's effectively nailed on now that Vickers will save it, unless it's an absolute pearler of a shot, which is what we need against MK, really, because they have the highest shots on target in the league. But we've got Josh Vickers. And at the minute, it is really fitting with the song because we are walking in a Vickers wonderland at the minute.
Yeah.
He has been sensational. And if he don't win February Player of the Month, it's rigged. Putting that out there right now, it's rigged.
Yeah, I can't see that anybody in this league has had a better February than Josh Vickers. I just can't see it. There's not a striker who scored 8 goals in so many games or anything like that. He's just been the best player in the league last month now. Scott Grundy, Vickers is undroppable. YouTube user, we're very lucky to keep him. I think he's got another year in his contract. I think, but I don't think it suits all parties, doesn't it? We brought him in gradually and is now number 1. Is not going to go anywhere. Don't worry about that one. Don't worry about him. Mick, clean sheet, another clean sheet. Clean sheet number 20, as Danny mentions, Vickers is going at, I think, a 67% clean sheet ratio. I mean, we're genuinely running out of things to say about this defence because they're that good. This podcast is quite easy. When we play rubbish and we get beat 3-0 or something, it's really easy to deal with rubbish. This needs improving. It's really difficult to say about Josh Vickers and the defence because we're not doing anything wrong.
Are you coming to me, are you, to say something that we can't say out about?
I like when you're positive. So come on.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, he's awesome. He's been absolutely awesome. But I think, as Steve Grundy's pointed out there in the comments, he's just part of that defensive back line, And yeah, you can get past Woody or you can get past Icky or Wes Harding or whatever. But then you've still got Vickers as well. He is part and parcel of that back line. But on the flip side of that, when Victor comes in, Victor's exactly the same. So yeah, he's been absolutely outstanding as Josh Vickers, and that 68% clean sheet stat is just obscene, isn't it?
It's gone up 1%. Every time we've all mentioned it, it's gone up another %.
Well, whatever. It just feels like it, doesn't it? He's just made another save somewhere. You know what I mean? We're not even playing. It's brilliant. It's great. It's just that back line as a whole, as a unit. Pretty much whoever slots in there is just immense. It's absolutely immense. And like the RUFC says on Twitter, once we get a defensive coach, we just won't concede at all, will we?
Yeah, absolutely. I also want a quick mention here, Lewis, for Icky. I thought he was solid. I thought against whoever played last Tuesday, Morecambe, he had his worst performance. I think he was a little bit like against Plymouth. He wasn't faultless, but he was all right. And I thought Tuesday, he was back to his best. Again, not doing anything spectacular, but just solid as a rock.
Yeah, I think he's gone under the radar this season, Nick. He's had one of his maybe strongest season for us, maybe. He's had a couple of good seasons for us, but I think he's definitely gone under the radar compared to some other players like we've been speaking about Vickers and Smith and Wiles and so on. But I think he's been really solid, like every other defender we've got this season.
Yeah. I just like to mention it for Woody. I mean, he didn't score against Shrewsbury, so that's very disappointing.
He nearly did, though.
Nearly did. But Woody, step it up, mate. Come on, no goal. You were brilliant again. Talk about midfielders and substitutions time. That's enough positives for a bit, Danny. Let's talk about some negatives. I want to talk about the substitutions at half time, and I think it's important to know, and I think it's good that Paul wants to come afterwards, and that since there was illness in the camp, the only reason Rathbone off at half time was that he must be ill or basically on his backside, because I thought he was brilliant in first half, and that contributed clearly a lot to our second half performance.
Yeah, we said on the stand that Wazzy brought Rathbone off. We thought he were amazing that first half. Yeah, and in hindsight, because he's effective, like you say, he's on his backside. He's absolutely exhausted. It's like, yeah, all right, we'll let that one slide. But it's the same with Wiles. So if they're both just fit enough for 45 minutes, I hope they get well enough again for Saturday. But yeah, midfield wasn't at its best, and I think we can put that down to illness, to be honest.
Yeah.
It was very frustrating in real time because it's like, what's going on? Midfield's just gone missing. But in hindsight, it's like, yeah, Barlas has had his kids, so Adolphine came in, Rathbone were gasping, so Wiles came in, Lindsay's come in, and I thought Lindsay's done all right, to be honest, because the midfield wasn't up to par. He's sort of done the best he can in that situation. Harding on the right side was okay. Aussie 2-2 again was steady. But even Warney's come out in the paper and said he's still not Miller's fit. You know, he's match fit, but he's not Miller's fit, which he's sort of like, that could be why he's been a bit, steady on the left side. But first half, that was like, right, we could carry on and build from that. It's just that the circumstances permitted that we couldn't, and that's why midfield were a bit rattly second half.
Yeah, it is. And yeah, the Mata one was strange. Again, you've got to put it down to illness, Mick, because I thought bringing Harding off at half time. It's trying to bring Chio on, I get that. But Harding was fine. It was wasting 2 substitutions at half time. But it must not have had another opportunity because we were good in the first half. So the only reason, I feel like we're just defending Paul Warney, which I suppose we do sometimes. There was no other reason other than illness and fitness to make those 2 because we were decent.
I'm going to be a happy clapper, mate. If Warney thinks of course I am. Yeah, I'm well known for that. If Warney thinks it's the right substitutions to make, it's the right substitutions to make. He knows more than any of us about the condition of the players, the way they are, the way that they're feeling, the way that they're performing, what he wants from his team. You know, he knows what he's doing. So, if it was the right decision to take Rathbone off because he made it based on what he knows about that player, about the rest of the team, about what he wanted and what he expected from them. So if he thought it was the right decision, it was the right decision at the time that the decision was made. It may not have proved that way. So be it. That's life, isn't it? So yeah, it is what it is. We didn't lose. We stuck at it. We battled hard, and we came away with a point away from home. So you've got to be happy with it. You've just got to trust them to make the right decisions, in my view. And I'm not saying don't criticise, but be measured in your criticism and never think about it.
Well, I'm going to have measured criticism now on the third substitute.
Go on then.
John London, Mattock, pointless. I think she was the substitution, not Mattock himself.
It's a bit harsh.
I thought bringing Mattock on with 12 minutes left, 12 on 78th minute, didn't really make much sense. I mean, if Angus can do 78 minutes, I think he could probably do 90. 12. I might be wrong. I'm not a fitness expert. I might be wrong, but I felt he could have still done that. And I thought you could have brought JJ on for a bit of energy up top to try and keep the ball up top because it just weren't sticking. Smithy and Freddie were having no look at all, particularly in the second half. There was absolutely no look. You could have brought Fergie on to give, again, a bit more pace and energy on the left-hand side. I didn't really get the Mattock substitution. And now we've got a point end, but I felt like we could have been a bit more... I know we were under the cosh, but I just felt we could have been a bit more proactive in terms of trying to win the game. Lewis, am I being too harsh?
I think you've got a point. Like I say, I think with 12 minutes to go, McDonald would have probably been all right. We don't know the ins and outs of the squad, do we? But you think, like you're thinking, 78 minutes to 12 minutes, you think it'd be all right, wouldn't you? But I think a KO might have been a good one for Freddie at some point, or because neither Freddie or Smith were in the game, or the centre midfield for that matter, really, in the second half. So more of an attacking change, but I can see why Warren's thinking we're under the cosh all second half. Just get out of there with your point and then move on. So I get why he's thinking that, but it can be a bit frustrating.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing as a fan, you just want to see attacking substitutes. If as a fan, I want to see 3 strikers come on. I know it's not going to happen. Yeah. But it must be a bit frustrating for Danny. We talked about JJ last episode being frustrated, but he can't get minutes on pitch, and it's really strange and frustrating as a fan. I imagine a bit frustrating for him that he just can't, for no fault of his own, it seems, he just can't get him on pitch.
No, he can't. But I don't, like we said on the last podcast, JJ knows the name of the game this season, and he's made the Papa John's trophy his thing, and his good performances are in there. But I'm going to play devil's advocate on this one. I thought we were better going forward with Matic on the pitch after he came on. I thought we were a lot better on the left-hand side after Matic came on, and we were running the channels, well, especially on that side, a lot better. And some of our chances came from Matic to Ozzy and then getting a ball in and it going out for a corner. I think that's how Woody's chance came about, and possibly the one towards the end of the game as well. So even though at the time, yes, it made no sense why have we brought on another defender when the Shrewsbury are just starting to blow out and we should throw kitchen sink at it. But like we said, we can understand why he's brought the change on because we were under hammer for the whole second half. But for them final 13 minutes, I'll talk about the minute added time in a second, but for the final 13 minutes, I thought we were better going forward on the left-hand side with Matic on the pitch. But this has to be the first time I have ever seen a single minute added at the end of the 90. And at 45, fair enough, because naff all happened in first half. But at the end of the full 90, I have never seen a single minute added unless we're winning 5-0 at Doncaster. That's the only other time. And even then, I think it was 3. So it's like, again, nothing happened in terms of big injuries or stoppages or anything like that because both teams didn't time waste, which is rare. But it's like we had Ozzy down for about a minute, then there's the substitutions, then the ball's obviously out for throw-ins and corners. It's at least 2.
There were 4 substitutions, weren't there?
Yeah, exactly.
2 hours at half time, so yeah.
Yeah, 2 hours. Well, you could eliminate those 2, and then there was one for Shrewsbury, and then Matic.
Only one for them, yeah.
Yeah, and then there was the other one for them in stoppage time. So it's like that's another 30 seconds, surely. But it's like I have never seen a single minute added when it's 0-0. Normally we're thinking, it's going to be 2 minutes added, and it ends up being 7. That's part and parcel of League One. But to see a single minute, it's like it's one of them days, isn't it? It's one of them days.
It is. It's one of them. I've not seen it for a long time, but I was almost pleased just to get game over and done with at that point. Let's just get out of the point. Because as the saying goes, if you're not going to win, don't lose, and that's what we did. Well, thoughts on the ref, Mick? I'm going to upset you some ref news for for the Papa John's in a minute, but thoughts on the ref from Tuesday?
Yeah, I thought he had a good game. I don't think there was anything contentious about any of the decisions that he made, really. Let the game flow. Quite impressed with him. No issues with him at all whatsoever. We need to clip some of these where we've praised the referee. So we can just counterbalance the ones where we slate them. But
we're not going to find many hours.
No. You ought to lose.
We're not going to find many hours.
Well, it doesn't seem to be.
No. Power Mad, man of the match for him was the referee because he was happy he blew his whistle. They have already announced the referees to the Papa John's Trophy game. Bobby Madley is the referee for the Hot.
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh god!
We'll preview that next week, but I thought I'd upset you all with Bobby Madley.
We need to add alcohol to be root beer now. You.
We'll be weak right there.
We can start practicing his song, can't we?
Yeah. Shelley IOC86, we missed Dan on Tuesday midfield. We seem to be a totally different team without him. Yeah, a little bit of a concern that we are so reliant on him, but it was only one game. If he got injured for 5 games, I think we'd probably work out something a bit more concrete around him not being there. And if it's been pulled out because his partner's going to labour, it would have been a last-minute thing as well, wouldn't it? He's not going to got pulled out Sunday night and they had a full day's training without him. They would have planned to have him in, and got to bear that in mind as well a little bit, I suppose. Not only you got the illnesses, you've got lost. I assume it's a last-minute thing there as well. Liam McGarry personally thought 2-2 looked sharp and was a positive performance, but he thought the midfield struggled for the most part. Yeah, I think we're great. I mentioned this other day, Lewis. I think we are seeing from 2-2 it is gradually improving. The one thing that I found frustrating, I think I saw Woody get frustrated. He neshed a tackle or two. And he's got to learn to not. He can't be doing that, especially in our team. You can't be doing that. You just got to get stuck in. Take the hit.
Playing alongside Woody, he's not going to allow that, is it? For much longer. But yeah, I thought in flashes, I thought he was really good. Some nice turns and on the attacking down left hand side, but some of the crosses were a bit off and that. But I thought there's definitely a great player there. You can see why Forest liked him earlier this season, because there's definitely a quality player there. I think what Warren said in paper, like Danny brought up earlier, is when he gets his fitness up. Well, Miller's fitness up, he says. I think he'll be a good asset to us. It might be even be a good option next season, provided if we're in the division higher, touch wood. Might be a good option for us with that added quality in that division.
Yeah. Absolutely. Right, we're halfway through, so we're going to have a quick word from Manscaped. Mick, I'm going to save you this month. This time, I'm going to put Danny's old advert on, so you don't.
Oh, thank you.
See you in a minute, guys.
This video is sponsored by Manscaped. Manscaped are the best at below-the-waist grooming. Over 4 million lads and lasses use Manscaped worldwide, including yours truly. Now, Manscaped have given me an early look-see at their latest trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0, and I tell you what, it is some quality stuff. They've also given me a look-see at the ball deodorant and the ball toner, which you use for your... Use code NYT for 20% off and free shipping at the checkout when you visit manscaped.com. Now, back to your regularly scheduled programme.
Thank you very much, Danny. Do you feel less stressed now, Mick, when you're not on that advert?
My internet went out, believe it or not, so I didn't even see it.
Shall I play it again?
No, you're right. No,
yeah.
Before I had my beard then, but
there's not much more to cover in that game. I think we've covered just about everything. Is there anything else, any topics or performances that are worth mentioning? I suppose we should get a bit of credit to Shrewsbury, because they properly took the game to us. And I know the top of the league, it's almost a 3-8, but you've still got to get credit for Danny, because not many teams have put us under the cosh this season like that.
No, they haven't. I think probably the last team to do it really effectively was Fleetwood when they beat us 4-2. Because, we went really under the cosh when we lost to Accrington or Fleetwood at their place. No. Same with Wigan, really. And with Sheff Wednesday. So I think that 45 minutes under the cosh from Shrewsbury has probably woken up the squad a little bit and don't be complacent with it, because teams that you don't expect to trouble you in terms of league position can trouble you really, really effectively. And I think they were happy for full time. I went on about it only being a minute added, but I'm sure they were happy just to see one. It's like, right, we can get this done and then go home. But one thing I will say from the Shrewsbury game, even though the game itself wasn't a classic, the away day itself were amazing. Absolutely amazing. If you watch the vlog, you know what I'm on about on the way down. And young Nevaeh, who we've had on the podcast before, tell you what, she's got a mouth like venom on her. Good Lord! Some stuff you're coming out with on that terracing isn't worth repeating, but it was funny. Proper football fan is Nevaeh.
That's what we like to hear. There's not much more to cover, really. Adolfin, Mick, we saw Adolfin. I thought it was solid, but again, it was part of the midfield that got lost in the game. So it's a bit of a shame, really, that.
Yeah, they were pretty anonymous, weren't they? They were pretty anonymous, to be fair. As you said, as was the midfield as a whole, really. So let's move on. We just move on, don't we? We've not lost. We're still 10 unbeaten or whatever. So we'll move on to the next game now. Hopefully the players will be feeling a little bit better, the ones that were badly. We'll train well over the next couple of days. Without a doubt, they will train well. So we'll move on. Big game Saturday.
Yeah. Lee McGarry does mention that thunder shot from the left back deserved to go in. He did deserve to go in, absolutely. And Scott Grunder with I'm not sure what I'd say this. The pies were great. Dare I say it, better than Pucker? I don't think you're allowed to say that in Rotherham.
Ooh.
You won't be getting
Pitchfork
served on Saturday,
torches.
Scott.
Pitchfork and torch time.
Before we move on to the McDonald's game, we got a quick question from Paul Barnfield. We like to put these random questions in every so often. He's been thinking for a while. Who do you think our player of the season has been so far? He can't choose, as I believe everyone has played well so far this season. Good question, as you can tell by everybody else going as I ask the question. Nick, I can see you're still thinking. Danny, I'll start with you.
Based on current form at the minute, I'd have to go Josh Vickers. But in terms of seasonal form, where they've not really had a bad game and they've been consistent every week, is probably Barlasser. When he's played, he's been consistent all the time, and it's just been the opposition that stopped him having his distribution. So I'll say Barlasser for the season, but based on what the run we're on at the minute, I'd say Vickers.
Yeah, I think Barlasser for the season so far. But it was strange, but I didn't play much at first month, did he? It took me a little while to get back in. Danny, I've already asked you, Danny, so I'll ask somebody else. Lewis.
Well, you could pick from like one of about 15 players, so it's a tough one. I think I'll go Smith personally. Barley's is a great shout, but I think Smith for his not only his goal scoring, but his overall game has just been as he has been for the last 3-4 years. He's been with us now. It's just been sensational all year. I thought last season he topped it, but this season has just been even better. If anything, his finishing stepped up a level. An overall game has just been top notch.
Yeah. Actually, I think I said Woody when I spoke to radio the other week, so I've changed my mind. But Woody's a great shout because he's been faultless. Mickey's been brilliant. Mick?
Difficult to look past Dan Barlasser, isn't it? Very difficult for me, and Smithy for that matter. But we've conceded 19 goals this season, which is just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And 5 away from home. So you would have to say, just based on that alone, that somebody within that back line somewhere is the standout player, or I don't know, Woody. I'll go for Woody, just on the basis that it's different to what everybody else has said, and I'm looking.
You like to be different.
Defense. Yeah, well, just a bit of variety, But pick anyone out of that back 4, 5, 6,
4.
It's a 5, isn't it? It's a 6 if you count goalkeeper. So Woody, Icky, Wes Harding, all been immense, absolutely immense. But yeah, I'll stick with Woody just for sentiment's sake.
Okay, I like your style. Right, let's move forward. Look ahead to MK Dons at the weekend, which is comfortably the biggest game of the season. Win, and although not mathematically, if we beat MK Dons, it would take a disaster for us not to be promoted. Win and we're up. That is how I see it. And I guess a lot of people see it. And yeah, it's a big game. They've started learning how to win games, not in the fancy pretty way. I was speaking to somebody from the MK Dons podcast last night, and it sort of put a shiver down my spine, Lewis, when he said, "Oh, we've learned how to win ugly." No, we didn't want that. I want pretty MK Dons to come over so we can press them to death. I don't need to hear them playing more pragmatic.
No, that's our thing, isn't it? Really. But yeah, it's definitely our biggest game of the season. But I consider it a bigger game for them, definitely, because if they lose, they're in a better position to catch Wigan than us. But if we win, I think it's 13 points the gap between us and them.
Yeah.
With 10 games left, which is basically 5 wins, the gap. Five more wins for them than us, which is, given how we've played all season, it'd be hard to see it being turned around like that. But yeah, it's a massive opportunity for us, I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely. If we win, obviously it's 32 points clear. If they lose and Wigan win, that'll be 10 points adrift of second place with 10 games left. They're probably not even targeting us, to be honest. Yeah, but they might be if they win. For me, Danny, it's if we don't lose, we're in a great position. 10 points with 10 games left. I know Wigan will probably catch us a little bit, if we don't win, but let's just not lose. I know players won't go into it, but let's just not lose.
Yeah, I think that's mindset to set as your benchmark, isn't it? Just don't lose. I think I don't know. A lot of people have said that with the MK Dons game, if we beat MK Dons, we are effectively up, and yeah, because the gap has really opened up with very little of the season left now. But I think our target is just keep that 2 points per game ideology, and we'll be A-OK, I reckon. I mean, we've got 76 from 35 so far this season. Now, we are at the time where the last season in League One was stopped because of COVID, and after 35 games, we had 62 points last time. So this season, we are miles better, but it's keeping that consistency for the last 11 games. And by the way, we need 24 points from the last 11 to get 100, which, it's doable.
Yeah.
Doable.
Well, we only need 16 points to break our club record points total. I think the record that is 91, which was Ronnie Moore's team in the Division 2 promotion winning season. So when we're getting close to making loads of record, I think there's a good chance the clean sheet record will go. I think that's 21 or 22. I'll need to double check that for the next episode.
I think it's 25.
It might be a bit higher than that.
I think it's 25 over the course of a season, but it might be 23 in the league. Again, we'll have to double check. But so we've got 20 this season. That's insane.
It is. It's brilliant. The last time we beat MK Dons at home, the only time we beat MK Dons at home was in 2017 with Semir Giant Will Volks, with a 2-1 win in December 2017. A funny little stat: for every time that Rotherham and MK Dons have been in the same league, one of them has been promoted or relegated every single season. And that's going to play out again. Either us or MK Dons are going to go up this season. It's going to play out again. I love stupid stats like that, but it's it's out there. And referee Mark Edwards, he refereed us against Sheffield Wednesday at home, and he gave us the penalty, which wasn't a penalty because it was outside the box. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a worry that he might do the same thing, but the other way around this time.
Failed to start.
Yeah. So Liam McGarry, for Saturday? What's our strongest defence, including wing backs, to play?
Good question.
Big question, this, Lewis, because first of all, we don't know who's fit, and one has already mentioned there's one player out. Let's pretend everybody's injury free, because they all play well on Tuesday night. I know we changed it around, but the defence did all right. So, can Angus play a game? Can Woody play again? What would you do?
I'd switch the full wing backs. I think I'd bring Ogbenny and Fergie back in to give us that. I think I like 2-2 going forward, but I think that's our best fit choice at the wing backs with Miller being out. I can't see him playing McDonald again, personally, after playing most of the game on Tuesday night. I can see him dropping out. Can Woody play again? I don't know. Playing Tuesday, Saturday. I don't know. It's a tough one. Pick any, they'll be all right.
Yeah. Icky will be in though, Danny. Unless Icky's the one that's picked up this illness, Icky will be in there. He's the surefire one in here, really.
Yeah, I think so. I think the general consensus is that it might be Ferguson who's picked up the injury. Not the injury, the illness. Sorry. But again, 2-2 coming in. It's not end at world. And I think it's more dependent on who can play more minutes, Rathbone and Wiles. I think, because I think one will be on the bench for Saturday, so we'll probably see Lindsay again. But for me, I'd say strongest back line, if you like, we could go for is Vickers, obviously. Harding, Wood, Icky, Ogbenny, and probably 2-2. I mean, that sounds really strong again, doesn't it? But for the as we like to call it, the McDonald's game, our main threat is disrupting their passing. If we can press them and disrupt their passing, because they are a passing-based team, I think they have they have the most accurate passes per match at about 402 per game. And that's accurate passes, not total passes. So if we disrupt that and use our leading stat of possession won in the final thirds, we can hurt MK Dons quite easily. However, we need to watch out for their possession, passing it round our back line, and their shots on target. But with the form Vickers is in, that should be okay. Fingers crossed.
Famous last words.
Yeah, that's why I said fingers crossed at the end, because it's like, oh, if I finish that sentence without it, I'll jinx it. It'll be a very, very good game. This there won't be many goals in it, I don't think, because our front line hasn't really been banging them in completely, and MK Dons will just try and pass it round and probably just try and pop one in. I don't think they'll come out and try and batter us. I think they'll go, Ray, let's get one, and then just knock it round and disrupt it.
Possibly. They've got Scott Twine, who is their key man, not necessarily a striker, but he's got 14 goals and 9 assists, which is incredible stats for the season. But they're not a one-man team. They are a good team. So it's going to be a test. It's going to be a tough test. I suspect we will think they're better than Wigan, if that sort of makes sense, Mick. They're going to look better than Wigan did. And if we let them play their game, they'll end up being the best team we've seen this season. We've got to make sure they do not get any rhythm in anywhere on the pitch. Whether they want to pass or do anything else, we've got to stop that rhythm.
I think you can be sure of one thing, and that's we will stop that rhythm no matter what, because that's what we do. That's what that midfield is good at, particularly Ollie Rathbone and then Ben Wiles in there, and Dan Barlasser as well. To be fair, because he does his fair share of getting stuck in. So, for me, I do hope that they come up and start trying to play football. That would be an absolute gift for us. For me, whilst I accept that they're accurate in the pass and they like to play that style of football, it's a style of football that we like to play against, and we benefit from playing against that sort of style rather than the Wigan/Wickham throw yourself on the floor and stay there for 20 minutes style, if you want to call it a style. So we'll see. It's going to be a tough game, but the question is, I've not looked at the league table, but do they want to come here and not lose? Is that going to be another one of their considerations rather than actually going all out for that 3 points? Do they just want to not lose, and cement that playoff place, cement that third place? Sorry. I don't know. It's difficult, isn't it? But I think we will go as strong as he possibly can on Saturday. I think he absolutely will. I think we'll have Vickers in goal. I think we'll have Icky, Woody and Harding as that central three. Chio will be out on the right. And then it just depends. If Fergie's fit, Fergie will play. 2-2 looks a prospect, but defensively, he's just not. He's not in the Rotherham United wing-back style at the moment. It's a real strain for him. He's finding it really difficult getting back there and getting involved in his defensive duties. So that is a little bit of a worry for me for Saturday. Not necessarily overall, but so I would hope that Fergie's fit, and if he is, he'll be in there. And I think he'll get Wiles, Barlasser, and Rathbone in midfield, Smithy and Freddie up front. I think he'll go as strong as he possibly can. Because it is important. It is an important game. I just wonder whether Warney will be looking at it the same way as we are, of it being the biggest game of the season. I don't know. I don't know whether it will or not, or whether the team will, because we've got another 10 games after this. We've got another 30 points available to us, even if we lose.
It depends on what we're looking at. If they're looking at title, then every game is as big as the next, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is.
All you're saying is MK Dons are obviously a better team than Shrewsbury because the league table tells you they are.
But you can't ignore the fact that they are in third place. You can't ignore that, because the first step to getting promoted and winning the title is to make sure that you're mathematically safe getting promoted. Then you can concentrate on the title. So, building that gap between us and third position is probably more important than anything else at the moment, because it's the first step along the way to winning the championship, isn't it? Winning the title.
Yeah, it is. With strikers, Mick thinks we're going to go Smithy and Freddie. They look tired towards the end of the game, though, Lewis, is all I'm thinking. We think that Georgie Kelly's probably not 100% ready. I think that Papa John's maybe his chance. But there is an argument to bring JJ in, because although Freddie was good, I'm not saying either of them were bad, but they did both look quite tired, certainly towards the end of the game, so it might be time for a change up top.
Yeah, perhaps. I think he'll stick with him for at least the first half and see how Freddie mainly is doing. I think he's warranted his place, and up until Tuesday night, I think both him and Smith were a bit off the games. That they weren't at the best. They weren't helped by supporting midfielders or anything, but they weren't at the best. But I'd stick with him for this game. I think they've more than deserved the place from previous weeks. I think it's not a slight on Coyote. It's just for the form of Freddie and Smith from previous weeks. And with Kelly, I think you're right. I think he'll come in for the Peace Trophy game. I think, but Warren said he's not quite up to speed. I think he's finding it tougher than he expected. I think were the quotes he used. So the Peace Trophy, which is a very Rotherham coming to the Rotherham side thing to say, isn't it? Really. But yeah, I think. I feel for JJ. He's not done anything wrong. He's been in good form himself. He's just been outed by Smithy and Freddie themselves.
Yeah, no, absolutely. John S. Kelly wasn't even the reserves and the reserves midweek. Yeah, because one is trying to keep him in the squad. He's trying to keep him as part of it, although he's not playing. So I think the same with Bowler. They're just they want to keep everybody together and make it feel like a team, basically. And all it takes is for Smith, Freddie, or JJ to get injured at warm up, and George Kelly finds himself on bench and with a chance to shine. So yeah, that's the reason for that. So we got Donna with asking we can win another street sign. She's giving us another chance. She made it easier where we don't have to give minutes this time. I mean, on last episode, I went 3-0, Danny went 1-0, Mick went 2-0, and I think Ben got in on action on Twitter and said 2-1.
I was closest then.
I mean, yeah. I don't think close is going to get you a sign, though, unfortunately. No. So let's go through some score predictions now. I'm sure Ben will let us know when he can be bothered. Mick, I'll start with you.
We're going to another clean sheet for us. Another clean sheet. I'm going 2-0 Millers. 2-0.
2-0. Okay. I like your style. Danny?
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree, actually. I think we've set the precedent for how we want our defence to be, and we want as many clean sheets as possible, to be honest. And we could potentially overload MK Dons with the press if, obviously, the players are fit enough and they've got the engine in them. So, yeah, I could see a 2-0. I don't think we'll completely demolish them like we did at their place, but I think a steady 2-0. I can see that.
I like it. I'm going to go a very cagey 1-1. I think we're going to see a similar caginess to the Wigan game. I think we'll see a better game, but I think it'll be a similar caginess than was that one. Lewis?
My guess would have been 2-0, but to change up a bit, I'll say 3-0. Be a bit more.
Oh, I like it.
Stick with a clean sheet, thinking, but we'll get another goal.
I like everybody's. I like it. Everybody's gone very positive. Harvey Kelwick 2-1. Christopher Nichols 3-0. Steve Gunder agrees with me 1-1. John S 0-0. Jamie thinks it's going to be a repeat of the Sunderland game 5-1.
Like it, Jamie.
I mean, if it is, I'm on Lash afterwards. Good grief.
Let me go to 4-0 on that one. Reece Kellett 2-0 to Millers. He's given us a minute. He thinks 24th minute with Smithy. S64 Miller 2-0. Power Mad 1-0. And S64 thinks it's going to be a smudge screamer. Is due a screamer. Last time we got a screamer, we're more than one, I think.
Yeah.
So he is due one. Donna asks, how many fans are they bringing? I wouldn't have thought very many. If it's 1,500, I'll be half a dozen. I'd assume around 1,500. If it's 1,500, that's probably quite good for their following, to be honest with you. So it might not even be that big. They're below average away attenders, aren't they? MK Dons.
They'll be scared with all those people around them in such close proximity. They'll not be used to it in a football ground, will they?
I've not been able to have 5 seats all around them.
Yeah, exactly. Without padding on as well.
We are padding, I know.
Yeah.
Slumming it.
Cheryl Stone, did they say 400 on their podcast? That may be right. There you go.
Wait,
Cheryl's
you
there,
were on
research
it,
friends.
Matt.
Thank you very much, Cheryl. I mean, I spoke to him and they just edited it in. You know how we do this and we don't do any editing. They edit it. They put effort into
They're a
it.
bit too professional, aren't they?
So yeah, not many, but it doesn't matter, does it? And yeah, there we go.
Just
I
having a
think
look on their website, they've got an allocation of 1,200 total with no sales on the day. So they've got Friday to get the tickets in, and then that's it. So I can't see it being that many, to be honest.
no, yeah, that's a 1,500. It might not be 1,000, but it'll be a good atmosphere anyway. It's one of those games where, when we know it's a big game, the atmosphere tends to go up a couple of notches. And with the excitement building to the Pizza Trophy game midweek as well, fever pitch is going to be.
Running over having kittens about that game, won't he?
Yeah. Did anybody go and have the picture taken with the trophy? At Papa John's on Tuesday?
No.
Wednesday?
No. I've seen the trophy before at the Football Museum.
Really?
Yeah, they had it on as like a thing with the EFL Cup as well. So I've touched the EFL Cup more times than Hartlepool have.
Yeah. If there's a Hartlepool podcast and you're listening, you want to clip that. Yeah, so there we go. I think we've covered just about everything, and we always do that. Done it again in good time. So thank you all for joining in, getting involved. We will be back on Sunday evening to look back at the big game and look ahead to the Pizza Trophy. Because it's semi-final, we might do a bit more research than we have done in previous Papa John's games, although we might not. As I mentioned at the start, if you can give anything out, it's on our Twitter page now for the Ukraine Red Cross appeal. If you can give anything, brilliant. If not, just give it a share if you can. We'll see what we can raise. And I'm trying to convince Mick, I'm going to let you all know, I'm trying to convince Mick, and the end, when Sunderland game gets postponed, because it's going to get postponed, isn't it? I think we're all agreement. The international break is going to kill that. I'm trying to convince Mick for us to do an all-day podcast, a 12-hour podcast, at least 12-hour podcast from morning to night. Danny and Lewis and everybody else will be involved. Pleasure to join us. It's in the works. I'm not guaranteeing it, but that's at the minute. That's what we're looking at to raise some money.
Mick will for anyway.
How am I going to moan for 12 full hours?
As long as I can drink, I'm fine.
I like being at work.
There you go. But keep an eye out for that. We've got the watch along next week for the game on Wednesday, Hartlepool as well. Donna London also mentions this is correctly. Her two game is launching on Saturday with all Rotherham United girls young teams coming to the game. Yeah, because the last time when Rotherham were going to launch their support for her game, I think it got cancelled. I think it was a Lincoln game, and the game got postponed. So they're pushing it again. I think it's International Women's Day as well. So I think that's, again, a great cause to all support, which we should all support and do all support. Yeah, thank you, everybody. We will be back on Sunday. I've done that. If you haven't subscribed already, please do subscribe to the YouTube channel and iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get us. Please do get involved. Lewis, pleasure to have you with us again, mate, and we'll have you back on again soon.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me on again, chaps.
Danny, what have you been drinking tonight, Danny?
It's not been alcoholic, I promise. I've been drinking root
like
beer.
whiskey.
No, it's been drinking root beer.
Fair enough. Pleasure anyway. If you haven't watched it already, go watch Danny's vlog from Shrewsbury as well.
Yeah, it's not the best entertainment-wise in terms of goals, but on the bus it's really entertaining. Will Daniels plays an absolute blinder with one of the guys on the bus, and it's really funny.
He definitely does. I loved it. Mick, Andy Hunt wants to know when we're doing a compilation of Mick's rants. I'm working on it.
Where's this rumour come from that I rant all the time?
Well, I don't know if you know this. We record these episodes so people can watch them and listen back to them.
Oh, right.
If you want to, you'll find out you do rant.
Oh, I thought this was just like a Zoom call.
It's like a Zoom call, but it's
You
really
told me up every Thursday and Sunday just had a Zoom call talking about football.
Anyway.
I don't even know two blokes.
Anyway, it's been a pleasure, everybody. Thank you all, and we'll see you next time. Enjoy Saturday. Credits on one-on-one. Credit turning shoot. Can take a shot.
Yes!